Abrego Garcia, there is no proof that he was an MS-13 member, and it has been debunked many times.
It's been debunked
yes,
by
it has.
liberal
It was
newspapers.
That's
in
not
a
true.
Court of law,
Stop.
a section I-113 or 123 is reliable, verifiable proof that you were a member of a gang, and he was never able to rebut it.
Things got heated on Fox News' The Five as Jeanine Pirro followed the Trump administration's propaganda strategy to a T, if you will. Take a listen to how Tarlov throws cold water on this MAGA media campaign to rewrite reality.
It was based on double hearsay testimony. The point is that this man has been living in this country, out in public, meeting on an annual basis with his DHS caseworker. He goes in once a year. He talks to them. They know where he works. He's an on-the-books worker. This is not somebody who is a gangbanger. This is not somebody who has committed any other crime besides being here in this country. And he came here also based on credible threat of being murdered by a gang at home who was threatening his entire family. You cannot legally send Americans to an El Salvadorian prison camp no matter what they have done. Under the Alien Enemies Act, you deserve due process. Abrego Garcia was not afforded that right to come into court and to argue as to why he should not be deported. And it is not the same thing to deport someone to their home country as to send them to a prison.
She works in a space where truth is usually buried under smug sound bites and bad faith arguments. She didn't back down. She brought the facts, and in doing so, she exposed just how flimsy and desperate the MAGA defense of Trump really is. Got Fox News hosts parroting talking points so out of touch with legal reality that they can't even keep up with their own arguments. And Tarlov hit them with the real. This isn't about justice. It's about manipulation.
The reason that Democrats are talking about the fact that anyone could, quote unquote, be disappeared is that you can see a full-blown constitutional crisis playing out in front of our eyes. The Supreme Court ruled 9-0 that he had to be returned. President Bukhari is lying when he says that he can't get him back. We know that he can return people because he returned people from the original shipment. There were women that were sent there, and he said, oh, no, you shouldn't be here. And there were some Venezuelans that he didn't want. He said, okay, you shouldn't be here, and he shipped them on back.
That 9-0 Supreme Court ruling, MAGA Republicans and conservative media jumped on it like it was a total exoneration when it wasn't. It was about procedure. The Trump team spun it into a landslide victory because they're counting on most Americans not actually reading the opinion. Then you've got Greg Gutfeld jumping in with some of the laziest, cruelest justifications for what happened to Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the father who was ripped away from his family and deported to a prison in El Salvador. And let's be honest, Gutfeld gave the whole game away. These people aren't worried about justice. They want to set a precedent that says if you're brown and even suspected of something, you don't deserve rights, due process, or dignity.
The facilitation, as the Attorney General herself said, was that if they decide to return him, no judge can tell the president you have to go into another country and pull a citizen of that country and bring him back here when he's illegal here in the first place.
All right. Greg, is this a constitutional crisis?
You know what's funny? I don't care. I honestly don't care. Is he not a terrorist? I don't care. In one of these errors, Americans don't die. At worst, a guy gets sent to a country he doesn't want to go to. You know what? I can live with that.
Into a prison camp, not just out into the wild.
Look, I'm sorry, Jessica. I understand your concern, but I refuse to care about one person who's an illegal alien.
Now enter Trump border czar and longtime ICE executive Tom Homan. Back on Fox, of course, saying the quiet part out loud. It's all about conditioning the public to believe that deportation without due process is just necessary tough love. And then Jesse Waters jumps in with his usual smug grin, pretending this is just how the system works. It's not how justice works. What this really is, manufacturing consent, training people to accept injustice in the name of law and order. That's how authoritarianism takes hold. And that's exactly what they're trying to normalize, one broadcast at a time.
He wasn't abducted. He's an MS-13 gang member, classified as a terrorist that was removed from this country. So we got rid of a dangerous person. An El Salvadoran national was returned to the country of El Salvador, so he's home. We removed him from the United States. He's a public safety threat. That's exactly what should have happened. And I'm just disgusted that any congressional representative is going to run to El Salvador at his age.
Garcia's a Bulls fan, but he's from El Salvador, and he lives in Maryland, not Chicago.
The Bulls lost 60 games in 2019, so why the hat? Can Garcia name anyone on the team? Anyone on any Bulls team besides Jordan? Everyone from El Salvador knows what it means when you wear a Bulls hat. It means you're MS-13. When you're in Compton, you don't accidentally wear red and say, oh, I didn't know red was Bloods. If you're a Latin American illegal alien in Maryland, you don't accidentally wear Chicago Bulls gear and hang around with high-ranking gangsters from MS-13.
Pam Bondi, another Trump loyalist, tries to clean it all up by insisting there's plenty of evidence against Garcia. But if that were true, if there really were gang ties or violent crimes, you better believe they'd be shouting it from every Fox Chiron, every campaign email, every Trump Truth social post. But they're not, because they know this is a political strategy, not a legal case. They know they've got nothing to show, so they resort to smearing people, ignoring the courts, and hoping nobody asks too many questions. But now they've gone too far, and people are paying attention.
You insist, the president, everybody in the administration insists that he is MS-13. It appears that there's not going to be any sort of trial. He's not going to come back. DHS said he would be arrested and redeported if he comes back. Why not show the American people the evidence that he's MS-13 so they can make an informed decision?
Well, he is an illegal alien who has been living illegally in our country from El Salvador. ICE testified. An immigration judge ruled he was a member of MS-13. An appellate judge ruled he was a member of MS-13. Hard stop. He should not be in our country. He was deported. They needed one additional step in paperwork, but now MS-13 is characterized as they should be, as an FTO, as a foreign terrorist organization. So he is not coming back to our country. President Bukele said he was not sending him back. That's the end of the story. If he wanted to send him back, we would give him a plane ride back. There was no situation ever where he was going to stay in this country. None. He would have come back, had one extra step of paperwork, and gone back again. But he's from El Salvador, he's in El Salvador, and that's where the president plans on keeping him.
But the evidence, we're not going to see the evidence?
We have the transcripts from the court hearings. I'll be glad to give you the court hearings from 2019, what we have, sure, with the rulings from the judges, gladly.
Congressman Maxwell Frost is one of those people. He's calling this out for what it is: racism, xenophobia, a deliberate erosion of democratic values. And he's right. If they can do this to a legal resident with a family, imagine what they'll do to everyone else if they win again. This is about control, and it's about distraction. But we're not distracted. We see it clearly. Trump administration and its allies and media are testing the limits of what Americans will tolerate, and we cannot let this become the new normal.
The administration is essentially saying we can deport anybody. We can send anybody, whether you're a citizen or not, overseas. And once it's litigated, if the court tells us to bring you back, whether you're a citizen or not, we can just chalk it up to saying it's foreign policy and the court has no business in foreign policy. This is about him, but it's our entire country. It's about the rights of every single American, every single human in this country. That's why we have to make a big deal about this right now.
You know, we need solidarity with the broader immigrant community now more than ever, because this isn't just about one family in Maryland. It's about setting a precedent. It's about rewriting the rules of due process and civil rights. We have to organize around leaders and movements who will fight back, who will protect the rule of law and the dignity of every person, no matter their country of origin. Because this is the fight. It's not just happening in courtrooms or committee hearings. It's happening on your TV screen, in your group chats, and in your heart. Question is, what side are you on?